We'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are going to make a Winter Wonderland shelf today. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I have this unfinished wood birdhouse and I'm just going to paint it real quick. Red's the color I want to go. I kind of want it to pop against all of the the white that's going to be on there with the snow and stuff. So I'm going to go through and paint this real quick. There's going to be a lot of bouncing on and off in this video, and that's just because of the amount of time that some of this takes and the painting and the details and all that good stuff. So I'm going to paint this real quick. I will be back when we are ready for the next step in the process.
Together we can make the dark turn today. Snowflakes fall like whispers from the sky. Blankets wrap around us, let's not say goodbye. Marshmallows dancing in the mug, so sweet. In this moment, love makes the cold retreat. Let's stay in tonight by the fire so near. Wrapped in cozy sweaters, got nothing to fear. Hot cocoa, love warming our hearts tonight. In each other's arms, everything feels right. Let's stay in tonight by the fire so near. Wrapped in cozy sweaters, got nothing to fear. Hot cocoa, love warming our hearts tonight. In each other's arms, everything feels right. Stars outside twinkle in the frosty air. Inside your eyes there's a universe to share. Heat from the flames mirrors our secret heat. Whispering promises winter can't defeat.
Okay, I'm back. So we've got our birdhouse painted. I did various shades of red, add a little bit of brown and all that good stuff to kind of get some shadow in there. Now I have this adorable little reindeer mold and these two circle molds that are Let's Resin's molds that you get in one of their larger packages. Got some Let's Resin epoxy mixed up. Now, what I want to do is we're going to kind of divide this into two cups. One for my white for the snowman that we're going to make. One for the copper that we're going to use to color our reindeer. So I'm just using some HTV white mica powder, and then I'm going to pack it full of that Snowy Surprise glitter by Solon. It's like a super chunky, iridescent, shiny, just gorgeous, reminds you of snow glistening in the sunlight kind of glitter. And I thought that that would be nice to kind of have it popping through on that snowman so that you get some sparkle in him as well. And we're going to mix this up really, really well. Fill up these little molds. Now, I am going to spray these with alcohol on the inside first, and that is just to kind of hopefully prevent any air bubbles from sticking. Now these holes, because I use two of the smallest ones, I don't want a huge snowman for this particular project. So the holes are super tiny, so it does take me a minute to get the resin in there. It's not like you can pour freely. And with the big chunks of glitter that are in this mixture, I need to make sure that I am going slow. It's almost like a drop by drop type situation, just because I don't want a huge mess, because if I go too fast, it's just going to go everywhere. So we're going to fill this one up real quick, kind of let it do its thing. There's really no point in hitting it with a heat gun because there's nowhere for it to go. Like, it's just not. It's either going to have bubbles in it or it's not, honestly, at this point. And I'm hoping for the not, but we'll find out when we demold later on. I did decide that it was kind of easier for this one, and I don't know why, to kind of finish filling it just using my craft stick and kind of just dripping it in. I don't know. In any which way you go, like, I made a mess. Like, not as big as it could have, but it was a mess nonetheless. And that's it. Like, we're done with this for now. Now it is time to move on to our little reindeer. Now I am using Rolio's copper mica, and I don't want, like, obviously he's reindeer, they're not like super crazy dark brown. I thought that this color would look really nice. It's just kind of a nice, shiny, just, it's a gorgeous brown. So we're going to go with this. Now, there are all kinds of details on here. He's got little spots and his nose and his mouth and his eyes and stuff like that. I'm not worried about that right now. If you wanted to, you could try to do a mica powder kind of dusting over with it. I don't think that doing it that way, you're going to get the best results. So I am just going to fill it up with this color, and then we're going to do the details with some acrylic paint later on. Now, I did have quite a bit of resin left over, and I recently got this kind of brick mold. I think it's a fondant mold, but I thought maybe we can use this later on. I don't know yet, but I just decided that, you know, we can go with some of the white and then add the kind of coppery mixture on top of it, because it'll give it like the appearance of snow on the bricks, right? So I don't know at this point if I'm going to use it. Well, if I wasn't going to use it, so I know now, future me, not past me. Past me didn't know at this point if I was going to use it or not. Future me now knows that I did use it, because otherwise there'd be no point in putting it in the video. So obviously we're going to use it. But at the time I was making it, I wasn't 100% sure. I just thought that there could be a possibility that somehow I can incorporate this in there. And honestly, sometimes I kind of think that's the best thing to do. Like, if you have extra resin and you're not sure, like, obviously nobody wants to waste resin. It's super, you know, expensive and whatever. But you know, you can kind of sort of do things and maybe not have a plan for it at the moment. Kind of like my last video with the snowflake by Into Resin. I didn't have necessarily a plan with it, but it ended up working out anyway. So kind of the same thing with this. You know, you kind of don't know what you got until you got it, and then you can demold it and your wheels start turning in your brain and you're like, how can I use this? And we are going to do something I think personally pretty cool, outside the box, outside the mold, with this later on, to incorporate this into our final piece. I think it turns out really, really cool. Hindsight, I would have done it slightly different in this part had I known what I was going to do with it, but all in all, I love it. I think it's cool, so we're going to keep this. Hit it with our heat gun really quick, just to pop any bubbles that may be on the surface. Okay, 24 hours later, we are ready to demold the snowman balls and our little moose. Now, I am not going to lie. This is the first time that I've used it. Not moose, he's a deer. This is the first time I've used this deer mold. And it was not easy to demold. And I don't know, it could be just because it is the first time that I've used it. And, you know, certain things, especially these kind of, not that he's an odd shape, but kind of different type shape things, they're not so super like, hey, really easy to demold. So it could be just a learning curve for me. Not sure, but I did have a hard time and I did struggle with him for a few minutes to demold him. But I think he is super freaking cute. Like, he is just adorable. And I can't wait to paint him. Like, he is, I love him. I think he's really cute. All right. Demolding the little snowballs. Now, the first one I didn't have any issues with. This one, I don't know. My hands weren't working very well this day, honestly. And I think part of it was because I demolded the deer first. And I have issues with the strength and grip in my hand sometimes. So I did struggle with it for a minute. I just think it was my hands. Okay, now it's time to add some details to this. Put the snowman together and get this little deer looking more like a deer and not just like a brown blob. As I go through this, I'm just going to let you guys watch the process. I will be back when we are done and ready for the next step.
Winter friends are passing by, building forts and throwing snow. Laughter is the way to go. Frozen pond is smooth and bright. Skates are gliding in the night, holding hands and feeling free. This is where we want to be. Winter wonderland inside. Hearts are warmed despite the bite, playing games and having fun, chasing shadows of the sun. Winter wonderland in sight, hearts are warm despite the bite, playing games and having fun, chasing shadows of the sun. Snowmen standing tall and proud, echoes of our voices loud. Hot cocoa after skating fast, moments here are made to last. Frosty air and blushing cheeks, snowy hills and snowy peaks, holding on to all the cheer. Winter magic feels so near. Winter wonderland in sight, hearts are warm despite the bite, playing games and having fun, chasing shadows of the sun. The sun. The sun. The sun.
Okay, I'm back. So I didn't come back for assembling the snowman. I just did it using a little bit of UV resin. This is the shelf that we're going to use. Painting it white because it's a winter wonderland. So, snow, white, whatever. All right, so we are using the Into Resin large snowflake again because I think it's gorgeous and I have an idea of what we can do with this. So I just mixed up a little bit more of Let's Resin's epoxy and I am dividing it into 2 cups. I'm going to do it similar to how I did it, the snowman or the snowflake in the last video, with a little bit of that snowy surprise glitter, and then we are going to use the blue Aurora powder from Into Resin again, and we're just going to alternate these in to kind of get that snowflakey vibe with the shine, and then obviously like the crystal effects that the mold gives you. Mixing it together, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Aurora powder, and we're going to pour that in there. Now, on this one, where I do go back and forth with it, I am going to kind of concentrate the tips of the snowflake with the glitter mixture, and that's just because I really want it packed in there really, really well so that I get a lot of that shine from the outside, because with the idea of what I have, that's the main part that you're going to see. So that's where I want most of the glitter to be. Other than that, I'm just going to use my silicone tool just to kind of, after I put the glitter in these tips, just to make sure that I get all the areas, since I'm not kind of just letting it flow there on its own, to make sure that there's no bubbles that are trapped in there, because that would be awful. And hit it very lightly with the heat gun, and then we're going to let this cure, do its thing, and we're going to move on to the next step of this Winter Wonderland. All right, so our bricks are now fully cured. Now they are still soft, which is perfect for what I need it for at this moment in time. This is, when you get the shelves, I purchased it from the Dollar Tree and you get 2 in 1. So this is the extra one that came in with it. And I kind of am thinking that I want to kind of have a brick road going through here. Now, I had kind of toyed around with the idea of putting brick around the outside of the shelf just to kind of finish it off a little bit better. All of this is going to change later on. I do decide to do something different with this, but this is kind of where my thought process is at this point. Now, these are little corner sides for like the corners of houses or whatever. If you're going to do something with that, we're going to use these too. But we're going to set that off to the side for now, and we're going to move on to this birdhouse. Now, I want it to be snow covered on the top, so I thought I could have painted it white, but I don't necessarily want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to use some of my Teexpert white UV resin, and I'm going to kind of smooth it over. Now, honestly, painting would have been a lot, not necessarily easier. This is faster in the sense that I don't have to wait for it to cure or to dry. So if I did paint, I would have to wait a good several hours for it to dry to make sure that there's no moisture left in there before I can move on to the next step. This is a time thing. I really didn't have the time to do it, so I am going to hit it with a thin layer of the UV resin, cure it up real quick, because I'm going to add some more on top of this later on. You'll see. You'll see. This is just my kind of background of it because I don't want any red showing through my next layer. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to add it around the bottom part, anywhere that kind of it would, like snow would hit. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to make some icicles, because I thought icicles hanging off of certain areas on this would look kind of cool. So I've never tried it before, but that's what we're going to do after this is done cured. Now, my thought process for the icicles is I know that I could lay it down on like a mold or something like that and kind of get the shape right and whatever, and that would work fine, but I want it more realistic looking. I want it more rounded kind of looking, you know, more like an actual icicle. So I don't think that that's the way that I want to go with this. So instead, I decided that I'm just going to take a little bit of my NicPro UV resin, add a little bit of that blue neon aurora powder to it, just to give it kind of that watery type shine, you know, with that little bit of blue in there. Just I didn't want straight white. And then I'm going to mix that together and then dip my silicone tool into it and cure it as it's dripping down, and then just kind of continue that process until I get the length that I want. Pull it off, and then we'll cure it again under like the big UV light that I have, and then we can kind of stick it on the house after we, you know, get that part done. So that's what I'm going to do right here. And as I kind of do this process, since I've already explained to you what I'm going to do, I'm going to bounce off. I'll be back when we're done.
Living life in winter wonderland, Birdland, bright snowman with a black top hat so high, scarred and cheerful under the blue sky. Little reindeer wearing red knitted caps, snug, prancing through snow, giving winter a hug. Friends forever in this magical place, cross the brick bridge with a smile on each face. On the frozen pond we glide and we twirl, every snowflake a tiny icy pearl. Laughing, playing till the day's night again, with my birdhouse friends this joy won't end. On the frozen pond we glide and we twirl, every snowflake a tiny icy pearl. Laughing, playing till the day's night again, with my birdhouse friends this joy won't end. Our footprints left behind in the snowflakes, each step a memory that never breaks. Under the street lamp the light shines so bold, together young hearts even in the cold. In this fairy tale of crisp winter scenes, frost-kissed branches sparkling and serene, calls of laughter echo far and nearby, in the wonderland below the clear sky. On the frozen pond we glide and we twirl, every snowflake a tiny icy pearl. Laughing, playing till the day's night again, with my birdhouse friends this joy won't end. on we glide and we twirl, every snowflake a tiny icy pearl. Laughing, playing till the day's night again. With my birdhouse friends, this joy won't end. Outfit prints left behind in the snowflakes. Each step a memory that never breaks.
Okay, so you
Under
saw
the
I just
street
added a
light, the
little
light
bit
shines
of glitter
like gold.
to that
Every young
same
heart
UV
beating
mixture
home.
that I had before. I'm using it as like a glue to kind of glue these icicles on. I know it looks ridiculous now. It's going to look a lot better when we're done. We're nowhere near done with this yet. And then I'm kind of going to drag some of it down the icicles themselves and cure that on just to make it look like it flows more in one piece and it's not attached. I decided that I wanted to add a little bit to the top hat for the snowman. Now we're going to get him together. So I've got, I'm so happy I found these cute little top hats. They're so cute. Anyway, UV resin it onto him. And after we're done, we're going to start putting the face and all of that good stuff on him. First, I want to add this little cute knitted hat that I found to the deer. I think it's just super cute. Gives him a little bit more personality and, you know, why not? So in order to attach it to him, I'm just going to take a tiny bit of UV resin. I know I could have used hot glue or any other kind of glue, but I didn't feel like getting it out and waiting. So yeah, we're just going to do it this way. So I just added a little bit to the back of his head where you're not going to be able to see it anyway. Let it cure under here. As these guys are kind of curing and doing their thing, I thought I'm going to add a little bit something to this birdhouse. So we're going to do rhinestones. I'm just going with red rhinestones around the outer edge of the hole. And then we're going to add our eyes, nose, mouth, buttons, all that good stuff to the snowman. And then move on from there. Now, I didn't have an orange rhinestone, so or, you know, I didn't have any little miniature carrots either. Yes, I could have done clay, but again, time thing, and this isn't something that I thought about ahead of time. So I'm just going to give him a coal nose as well. He'll be fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, I will be back when we're ready for the next step.
Snowflakes falling from the sky. Winter friends are passing by, building forts and throwing snow. Laughter is the way to go. Frozen pond is smooth and bright. Skates are gliding in the night, holding hands and feeling free. This is where we want to be. Winter wonderland inside. Hearts are warm despite the bite. Playing games and having fun, chasing shadows of the sun. Winter wonderland inside. Hearts are
So,
warm despite
these guys are done. I'm just kind of hitting it with the heat gun to dry the glue a little bit better. Alright, so my initial idea was just a brick road, right? Then the night before I did this, it kept me up all night. I had so many ideas popping into my head. What if I used Let's Resin's hand painted resin, make snow because it'll stand up and I don't have to worry about it flowing anywhere, and have an icy water, and instead of making just a road, what if I make a bridge? Like, that could be really, really cool. So that's what we're going to do. So I am heating up this. It's, you know, it's not 100% hard yet, but it is harder. So I'm heating it up with my heat gun so that I can kind of mold it a little bit. Now, I'll be honest, it's a little wonky. And had I thought of this prior to my piece getting hard, I could have shaped it better and had it kind of like over something to let it hold that shape and dry and harden in that particular shape that I wanted, but I didn't. So this is what we're doing. And this is another thing that it's the pieces that where when I was putting the resin in the mold at the beginning that were thicker is where I'm having a harder time kind of making it more pliable. So I could have done thinner, it would have been more pliable. I'd have had an easier time doing it. The shape would have been better, but it's whatever. And then I just UV resined on the sides just to kind of have it help hold that shape while I did it. Now for the snowman, I've got the cute little scarf, so I am just tying that around his neck, and that's pretty much it. Just tying it, gonna let it just sit and do its thing. Thought about UV resining it on so it wouldn't move, but I'm not super stressed about it. Now, this is where I was going to stop with this bridge, but then I had another idea. As opposed to having those other bricks that I have going around the outside of it, I feel like the bridge kind of needs like a side. Like it's got no sides. You can very easily slip and fall to your death in that icy pond that's below you. So instead of doing that, I'm taking the single ones that I cut out of the bricks and I'm going to UV resin them around the side like it is the side of a bridge. And that's what we're going to do with that. And then those little pieces, those corner pieces that I was telling you about earlier, I am going to put those at the beginning and end of the bridge like it's a, I don't know what they're called. I don't know what they're called, but you'll know what I'm talking about as soon as I do it. Again, I did use my heat gun to kind of make this a little bit more pliable. Hindsight, if I had this idea before it got hard, it would have been a lot easier. I did have pieces break off and not bend right, but that's just because of the shape of it, and it's fine. I just UV'd it back together. It'll be fine. It's a little wonky, like I said, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. It adds character to my bridge. Anyway, so I'm going to go do this, and then we're going to actually start assembling this together and get the pieces where I want them. So Snowman is going to be actually on the bridge, and the little deer, he's going to be behind. I need to have enough space that I can have the water underneath. And yeah, it's like the little feet of the bridge. You know what I mean? Anyway, I thought it was cool. But we're going to do all of this, and most of it's going to get hidden. Actually, I think pretty much all of it gets hidden underneath that hand painted resin that we're going to do here in a little bit. Which is cool, because then it's not going to look quite as messy as it does right now. Okay, now it's time to actually get these things in place. So for the birdhouse, I'm just adding a little line of UV resin to the front of it. It's going to be secured once I put that hand painted resin on. So I'm not super worried about like gluing it underneath or anything like that. This is just to kind of hold it into place from moving as I'm adding that onto there. And because I'm going to go up kind of the sides a little bit around the edge of the house. And I do want it hanging off. Like I have very limited space. It is a very small shelf. But I think I can get all of this in here. Same thing with the snowman. A little bit of UV resin just down. Cure it. He'll be fine. And then we're going to do the same thing with the little deer. I'm just putting it in spots that I know I'm going to cover later on so that you can't see all the mess, if that makes sense. Now, I already have both my regular epoxy and my hand-painted epoxy, or my hand-painted resin already mixed up. It was just sitting degassing while I did that. I'm mixing in HTV white mica powder in here. And then I'm going to add the rest of the snowy surprise glitter that I have left just to add a little bit of sparkle to it. Mix that up, and then we are going to kind of start applying where the snow is going to be. Now, in order for this to, let me interrupt myself. I'm adding a little bit more of that blue neon aurora powder. That is going to be our icy lake. Okay, back to what I was saying. Now, in order for this to work and this regular epoxy resin not to run off this entire thing, because I'm not waiting for it to cure, what I'm going to do is around the sides where the river or the like pond or whatever is going to be, I'm going to build those up kind of high to hold that epoxy in. So I'm going through now with my craft stick and just kind of placing it on here. Now I want it to be 3D. I want it, that's the whole purpose of using this resin. I want it to stand up, to look like snowy mounds here and there and all over the place, right? And try and keep these holes clear from the resin so I don't have an issue later on and I can get my string through to hang the shelf up. And then I'm going to put it on the roof, and I'm going to put it everywhere that I put the white UV resin before. I am putting this hand painted resin. I'm going to add it to, you know, the sides of the bridge to make it look like the snow fell on the bridge and it's staying there. Just everywhere. Go over those icicles again to make them look more uniform, to make them look like they're actually a part of it and not, you know, attached how we attach them. As I go through this, I'm just going to let you watch the process since I've pretty much explained it all to you, and then I'll be back when we're ready for the next step.
Laughing loud, we just can't stop. Carrot nose and cold for eyes, button smile, he'll hypnotize. Scarf around his neck so bright, magic here in winter's light. Oh, build him tall, build him wide, a frosty friend by our side. Through the cold he'll stand so proud, shining like a snow white cloud. Hats tilt back, gives that flare, twigs for arms just standing there. In the heart of winter's grasp, frosty fun forever lasts. Snowy days and chilly nights bring to life's just standing there. In the heart of winter's grasp, frosty fun forever lasts. Oh, build him tall, build him wide, a frosty friend by our side. Through the cold he'll stand so proud, shining like a snow white cloud. Oh, build him tall, build him wide, a frosty friend by our side. Through the cold he'll stand so proud, shining like a snow white cloud. Oh, cloud.
Little red birdhouse, sparkling bright delight, living life in winter wonderland, Rolando bright snowman with a black top hat so high, scarred and cheerful under the blue sky. Little reindeer wearing red knitted caps, snug, prancing through snow, giving winter a hug. Friends forever in this magical place, cross the brick bridge with a smile on each face. On the frozen pond we glide and we twirl, every snowflake a tiny icy pearl. Laughing, playing till the day's night again, with my birdhouse friends this joy won't end. On the frozen pond we glide and we twirl, every snowflake a tiny icy pearl. Laughing, playing till the day's night again, with my birdhouse friends this joy won't end. Our footprints left behind in the snowflakes, each step a memory that never breaks. Under the street lamp the light shines so bold, together young hearts even in the cold. In this fairy tale of crisp winter scenes, frost-kissed branches sparkling and serene, calls of laughter echo far and nearby.
And I'm back. Alright, so you saw I just added a little bit of Let's Resin's blue alcohol ink to it. It just was blending in too much. just to give it a little bit more so that you can tell it's water under there and not just all snow. And then I did a light dusting of some crystal diamonds glitter just over top of it. It'll all stick to it, so I'm not going to have to worry about that, just to give it that extra sparkle that snow gets when it glistens in the sunlight. And here we are, 24 hours later. Let's look at our snowflake and start getting the finishing touches on this piece. And of course, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, the mold is stunning. I don't think you could go wrong with it. So what I decided to do is I am going to hot glue this to the back of the piece. And it's just because why not? I'm going to do that. And then I forgot, see, I wanted lights, right? My whole plan was to put lights down on the ground before I put that hand-painted resin on, and then I forgot. And I didn't remember until after I was done. So, I still want lights. So we're going to add lights to this too. So as soon as I'm done getting this string through here, getting this part all set up so that I'm ready to just be done with this after we add our lights, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go between, I started to UV resin my lights on like I've done so many times in the past, but I decided that maybe hot glue would be a little bit faster, and since I already had it out to glue the snowflake onto the back of it, I'm just going to hot glue the lights in place. So I'm going to go through this. I will be back at the end when we see the actual final results.
Building forts and throwing snow. Laughter is the way to go.
Frozen pond is smooth and bright. Skates are gliding in the night. Holding hands and feeling free. This is where we want to be. Winter wonderland inside. Hearts are warm despite the bite. Playing games and having fun. Chasing shadows of the sun. Winter wonderland inside. Hearts are warm despite the bite. Playing games and having fun. Chasing shadows of the sun. Snowmen standing tall and proud. Echoes of our voices loud. Hot cocoa after skating fast. Moments here are made to last. Frosty air and blushing cheeks. Snowy hills and snowy peaks. Holding on to all the cheer. Winter magic feels so near. Winter wonderland inside. Hearts are warm despite the bite. Playing games and having fun. Chasing shadows of the sun. The sun. The sun. The sun. Winter nights by the fire glow warm. Cozy sweaters keep us from the storm. Hot cocoa and hand melting ice away. Together we can make the dark turn to day. Snowflakes fall like whispers from the sky. Blankets wrap around us, let's not say goodbye. Marshmallows dancing in the mug, so sweet. In this moment, love makes the cold retreat. Let's stay in tonight by the fire so near. Wrapped in cozy sweaters, got nothing to fear. Hot cocoa, love warming our hearts tonight. In each other's arms, everything feels right.
Let's stay in tonight by the fire so near. Wrapped in cozy sweaters, got nothing to fear. Hot cocoa love, warm in our hearts tonight. In each other's arms, everything feels right. Stars outside twinkle in the frosty air. Inside your eyes, there's a
right, I'm back.
universe to share.
So as I finish this up, I think that this piece looks really, really cute. It's definitely something different that I've not seen anyone do before, adding a lot of different components to make a cute little 3D scene that, you know, you can do whatever with. I mean, you didn't even have to use it as a shelf if you don't want to. You can just set it down on, you know, a table or whatever as like a centerpiece type deal. It's not necessarily Christmas, it's winter. I could have very easily done it as a Christmas piece, but I kind of wanted it just as a generic winter kind of themed thing so that you can have it up all winter long as opposed to just for Christmas. We will get into Christmas stuff later on. But, you know, I don't know. I really like it. I think it's cool. And yeah. Anyway, that is a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you on Tuesday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
In every comment, right? You lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel